The impossibility of the universe without a creator. The path to salvation from the beginning of time. The universe has testified to a complexity and precision that defy any notion of chance. Every particle, every physical law, and every element of life point to an undeniable truth: the existence of a creator. This creator, whom we call God, is not only the primary cause of all that exists but has also revealed his nature and purpose universally and consistently throughout history. This creator has not hidden himself. He has manifested himself across the earth in various ways, and in the most transcendent moment, he revealed himself through his Son, who took on human form. When asked, "What must we do to be saved?" he responded with a simplicity and depth that only truth can provide. A universal message from the people of Israel. God established this fundamental principle. "Hear, O Israel! The Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength." Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 4-5. This commandment is the foundation of all relationships between the Creator and His creation. But Jesus, embodying the fullness of this truth, added, "You shall love your neighbor as yourself." Matthew chapter 22 verse 39. Here lies a message that transcends religions, cultures, and eras. It is not about rituals or doctrines but about an authentic and transformative relationship with God and with others. The essence of the neighbor. The word neighbor derives from near. The one who is close, the one with whom we share this journey called life. Jesus teaches us that a neighbor is not limited to our family, friends, or community. It includes anyone who crosses our path, regardless of differences in race, belief, or social status. Loving one's neighbor is the purest reflection of love for God. The answer to the fundamental question, what must I do to be saved? The answer is clear and accessible to all. Love God with all your being and love your neighbor as yourself. There are no complex requirements or religious barriers to overcome. This truth is universal and applicable to anyone sincerely seeking the Creator. A message beyond religion. This path belongs to no particular religion. It is a call to all humanity, a reminder that true salvation is not found in doctrines or systems but in a life guided by love. Love for God, the source of all, and love for one's neighbor, the extension of His creation. Whoever loves God and their neighbor walks in the light of the Creator. And in this love, they find salvation. This message, simple yet profound, is the foundation of a humanity reconciled with its eternal purpose. The Creator asks nothing more than our hearts, filled with love and devoted both to Him and to those around us. Conclusion: let us carry this message to the world. Let it transcend our words and become action. For in loving, we not only reflect the image of the Creator but also respond to the highest call of our existence: to be a light in a world desperately in need of rediscovering the divine purpose. English translation: Jesus, the God who walked among us from the beginning. God knew the destiny of His creation. He knew humanity would fail, that the prophets would fall short of fully accomplishing His purpose, and that the human heart, despite covenants and laws, would continue to drift away from Him. That is why, in a supreme act of love and humility, God Himself chose to become man, not as a king on a throne, but as a servant without a home. Jesus did not come to showcase His power but to prove that even in the greatest human weakness, faithfulness to God is possible. Human failure and the need for a perfect example. From Adam to the prophets, humanity's history is marked by failure in the face of sin. The best men, those chosen by God, proved that, on their own, they could not attain perfection. Neither Noah, Abraham, Moses, nor the anointed kings fully fulfilled God's will. So how could humanity justify that obedience to God was unattainable? How could it claim there was no way to live according to His purpose? God Himself came to answer this question. Jesus came to demonstrate that human life, with all its trials and limitations, could be lived in holiness and perfect obedience. A God without privileges. Jesus did not live as a divine being surrounded by comfort. He had no home or possessions. He relied on the hospitality of others, walked long distances, and experienced hunger, exhaustion, and rejection. He could have used his power to change his reality but chose not to. When he says, "The Son of Man has no place to lay his head," Matthew chapter 8 verse 20, he is not exaggerating. Jesus literally lived as a common man, facing the same difficulties as we do. This was no accident, it was an intentional decision. He did not come to be served but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many, Matthew chapter 20 verse 28. Power in sacrifice. Jesus' ministry was filled with miracles, but none were performed for his own benefit. He healed the sick, fed the crowds, calmed storms, and raised the dead, but he never used his power to escape suffering. Even at the moment of greatest trial, on the cross, when he could have called legions of angels to save him, Matthew chapter 26 verse 53, he chose the path of sacrifice. Jesus showed that true power does not lie in imposing one's will but in submitting to the will of the Father. "Not my will, but yours be done," Luke chapter 22 verse 42, were the words that defined his mission. The lesson of divine humility. The greatest mystery of Jesus is not that he was God made man, but that, being God, he chose to live as the most humble. He did not need to display his power. His message was the example of a life lived in perfect communion with the Father. Jesus did not come to prove that he could do it. He came to show us that we can, too, if we live in dependence on God. By resisting temptation, loving his enemies, and forgiving those who crucified him, Jesus left us a clear path to follow. Conclusion. The path to salvation. Jesus did not come to demonstrate his superiority but to give us irrefutable proof that love and obedience to God are possible for everyone. Through his life and death, he made it clear that the purpose of existence is not in accumulating wealth or earthly power but in loving God and our neighbor. When we look at his life, we understand that salvation is not found in fulfilling external laws but in a heart transformed by love. Jesus not only saved us on the cross, he taught us how to live to be truly free. Today, the question remains the same: what must I do to be saved? The answer is simple yet profound. Love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. In this, as Jesus demonstrated, is the fullness of life.